So I did have this image pulled up. I was sent this by a sprint car owner / crew chief. And I was like, what are you talking about? It showed this image of Devin Moran in a corner. And I'm like, okay, it looks pretty kind of normal. What are you talking about? But then he sent me a picture of the car mirrored. So when I say mirrored, this is what I mean. When I mirror this image as it sits right now, our mind is trained to see this as a dirt late model, right? That looks normal, right? This car. So that is how much, like, that is not edited. This is not an edited photo. This is not altered or squeezed or skewed or anything. That is how much the actual dirt late model bodies are manipulated in today's society. Now, obviously, like I said, this looks normal, but when you actually take it out of that normal perspective and change it the other way,
it's crazy.
That looks like a cartoon or something. Like, what are they doing? This is why aero matters so much. This is why so many things matter in these cars today. And he also sent an additional, that's another mirrored image of how skewed these cars are today. That is like what we're used to right now. And it's just kind of weird. Anyway, I was just pointing that out. I was going to bring that up. That's insane to me. So this was the big wreck.
I think it was.
It's a racing incident, I would call it.
Bloomquist went up too, but
that is a big ride for a late model. Some people don't understand when
a fucking 9-year-old.
Well, and it's a heavy race car. It's different when a late model goes upside down that big, right? It's not like when a sprint car goes upside down. It's a light vehicle, 1450, probably lighter than that according to Brad Sweet and High Limit. But I'm just saying. Hold on, this is the response from the wreck with Scott Bloomquist. We actually did have the response. Let me see.
Yeah, we're actually not down. We're up on the hauler. Scott, man, I'm glad you're okay. That was a hard lick. Walk us through it.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I made a couple of mistakes. You know, I haven't run these tires that much. These guys have been running them a couple of years. And I put new right sides on, and they say you need to have tires that you've run a couple of cycles on. I believe them now, but we prepared for what looked to be a pretty hooked up racetrack, and then the first heat race blew it off a lot. We were a little bit loose, but finally felt like we were going to maybe get it going. And racing with Shannon, you know, he appeared to be driving pretty wild, but I didn't, you know, I had no idea of anyone that on this planet. I never would have expected that out of Shannon. So, you know, I mean, I watched the replay a couple of times, and it was pretty blatant and not lifting and just turning left on my right recorder panel and turning me in the outside wall. So
I just can't hear anymore. The guy didn't do shit wrong, dude.
A racing deal.
It was a racing deal, but it wasn't blatantly blame like this guy is saying, or Scott Bloomquist is saying right now. You're running fifth, bro. You ain't worth turning in two. It ain't like it's for third, bro. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
How he walked away from this and was waving at the crowd? Do you think he's going to race again? Do you think Scott Bloomquist will race more? Like, is he going to keep going? I mean, I believe there was an interview where he said he would.
I don't think so.
But, I mean, he embarrassed himself today. He came out. Hold on. Here's the problem with Scott in today's society. It's 2024, not 2014. And maybe he is a pioneer of the sport. Like, all the chassis and innovations are based on something he discovered or made up back in the day. He deserves that. But they took what you did, and it ain't just what you did out there on the track anymore. It's what you did plus some.
Exactly.
You know, and I think that plus some is where he's missing and lacking. It reminds you of Sammy Swindell.
Yes, because, okay, so Sammy Swindell, he didn't run full outlaw schedule. You know what I mean? He'd run some shows in the summer, and then he'd fire up for the Nationals, and then he's always run Chili Bowl, all that. And he's always good at he was always good at the Chili Bowl there for a long time, even though he's an old man. Right? Scott Bloomquist thinks he can still do it, just like Sammy could. Sammy could actually do it at the Chili Bowl. You know what I mean? He could actually.
But he hasn't been able to.
Not right now. 10 years ago, though. You know what I mean?
Back to the same thing with Scott.
That's what I'm saying. Back to the same thing with Scott. And Sammy was able to do it. Scott might actually think he'd be able to, might do it. And
you just think
he's not all the way. It's not that he's not all the way there. It's just, I think age caught up to him.
Do you think that Scott's just a better talker?
Yeah.
Flow Racing took that clip. I guarantee you they interviewed a bunch of other people. But they took the clip of Scott Bloomquist saying, I'm going to win the heat race and run away and win the fucking race because it's sold.
Yeah, and everybody needs a show. Everybody needs something
But
to talk
Sammy
about,
doesn't talk like that. No. You know, Sammy gets vocal when you force it.
Right.
But Sammy doesn't offer up sound bites like Scott Bloomquist will offer up a sound bite.
Yeah,
you know?
that is fair.
Scott Bloomquist is known for getting out of the car. What they promote all week on the Dream, him getting out of the car and doing the suck it thing, and then, you know what I'm saying? Like they did. They promoted this all week long. You know, they made this Scott Bloomquist at Eldora deal like an image. And then when Scott Bloomquist goes up there and gets interviewed, he's basically just backing up that image.
Right.
But then when he gets out here and he does this, which I don't know, I think it's a racing incident, personally. But he could have just stayed in his lane. Like, look at this wreck.
100%.
He does drive up the track and pushes, he goes up into the nose.
100%.
I mean, it's half and half, but Scott Bloomquist is winning a race, who's not falling throughout the field, who's not got on a camera and said to the world that he's going to win the race, and has fell back to 4th or 5th or whatever. He just holds his line and drives into the next corner because he knows he can win the race doing that. A guy who's struggling makes moves like that on the racetrack because he's falling back. He's not moving forward. So it's just a very interesting situation where I feel like Scott Bloomquist's ego, this is honestly my personal opinion of it, Scott Bloomquist's ego cannot keep up with Scott Bloomquist of reality. 100%.
Ready to rip, ready to reach. Place my bets, hey, you never know when playing on hopes what you could achieve. Making the goal, peace with the soul, don't matter the bottle with what you believe. Cause if I'm taking it all in, the calling is harder with nothing that's harder than free. Not giving up, no, don't trip, gotta go. Take a slip, make a pass in the low. Put it down the gas for a show. Slide a pass on the grass for the OPO. Got first, never last for the oh no. To the pass of the glass of the FOMO. Cause I'm gonna pass all you cowards with ease. And when them speeding demons come, we don't feast with the beast and the evil hunting lust. Burn your cheeks when I speak with my real passion, love. Turning all your tricks against you cause you're one and only master. Hey, God,